So what's it look like to travel to central London for a 2-day shoot as a small production crew? In this video, I'm going to share some of the production, some of the schedule, some of the BTS of what the shoot actually looked like and how we worked with the client to get the final result. So a couple of months ago, me and Paul headed down to central London to shoot a marketing campaign with the Royal Academy of Engineering. We've worked with them before on a few marketing campaigns about the hubs that they've launched across the nation, but this one was something slightly different. This was to film a campaign video for the Green Future Fellowship. The Green Future Fellowship is a trust that is awarded by the Royal Academy to engineers that are trying to reverse the climate crisis through innovative engineering. So the schedule for the 2 days, thankfully, was pretty relaxed. We were to travel down via train in the morning, then get a taxi to Prince Philip House. We were based there for 2 days, where we were shooting 3 interviews that afternoon, and then the following morning, B-roll of an event and 11 vox pops of the other trustees of the Green Future Fellowship Award. So because we were taking taxis and trains, we were limited with the kit, although we tried to take as much as we could. It was stripped back to an A and a B cam, a key light, tube lights for additional and practicals, a boom mic setup and accessories. Basically minimal kit for maximum effect. So whilst our schedules were rather relaxed, our subject schedules were actually quite busy. So we were only allowed an hour with each subject and 15 minutes of setup time either side of each interview. Normally we try and push for as much time as possible, something close to an hour to set up each interview just so we can dial in every light and camera angle the way that we want to, but we knew that this wasn't going to be possible within this project. So we planned ahead, and whilst Paul was out capturing the hero shots of our first interviewee, I was already setting up for the second one. All the interviews in the afternoon went pretty smoothly and we flew through them. We got some questionable looks about the diffusion that we brought, but you can't exactly put an 8x8 frame on the LNER, so we had to make do with a shower curtain. So the references that we sent to the client in our pre-production stage were quite bold and different in terms of the camera angles and the grading style, but our client really enjoyed it. So it meant that we had quite a wide range of things to choose from. At the end of the day, the topics that these people are talking about are really interesting, but in a huge white-walled room, it can get lost in just quite an uninteresting space. Thankfully, we had some really great natural light and actually more interesting walls that we're able to kind of create some really cool framing from. They were also pretty keen to push their brand towards the modern-day style of filmmaking, allowing for a more stylized edit and shooting style, which was a lot of fun for me and Paul.
So, got back to the hotel. After a good afternoon's shoot, we shot 3 interviews. Each of them quite detailed. We had 2 cameras set up, some really nice setups, and then because we don't have much opportunity for B-roll, we were just shooting some nice kind of portrait-y style shots. So now it is time for backing up, footage, charging a few bits and pieces, then enjoying a bit of London life. It's about 15 minutes drive from where we're filming today, so we've left all the kit at the location, so we were gonna just get a cab or an Uber or whatever, and we spotted these guys outside and we thought, well, why not? Not your average ride to work. Pretty epic.
So the next day was all about the event. Whilst Paul was filming B-roll of the workshop, I headed to the outside of the building to capture exteriors and contextual shots that we can use as B-roll. I also headed across the road to St James's Park to get some nature shots, seeing as we were shooting for the Green Future Fellowships. It was fitting that we got some nice natural B-roll alongside the white-walled interview rooms. So we then set up the vox pop booth in one of the corners of the main rooms. We'd planned to move it to different angles to capture different setups for each vox pop, but our client was pretty happy to just leave it in the same space, seeing as it was only going online for socials. So we had a revolving door of amazing stories from all the engineers throughout the morning, which ended with a swift lunch and pack down, and then a bit of a race to King's Cross, since one Uber driver refused to take us, saying that our pelly case was too heavy to fit in his SUV, which I've never heard of before. Thankfully, another Uber driver picked us up and we made our train with, I think, about 45 seconds to spare. A tiring train ride back up north and a taxi back to the studio, backing up cards and dropping off kit, and I think I made it home for about 7 PM, which all in all isn't too bad. Shoots like this, it's easy to overload yourself by saying we're just going to get one more take or taking that extra light just in case. It's not always about that. Sometimes it's about using what you have to your advantage and sticking to a strict schedule no matter what. You just have to get kind of creative with things. Well, hopefully you've learned something about this little BTS behind one of our production shoots, and if you did, then leave us a like, and it'd be sick if you subscribed, and we'll see you in the next one.